For 2,000 years, artists have turned to paint in search of the face of Christ. What did Christ, the Son of God made man, look like? In the earliest centuries of the Church, few artists dared to take on this question. Only the most basic and humble depictions survive, hidden deep within the Roman catacombs. The images that have survived from those early centuries offer a different vision from what we might expect today. Christ does not yet wear the crown of thorns or hang on the cross. Instead, he appears as the Good Shepherd, the miracle worker, the teacher, depictions that spoke more to his mission and message than to his actual physical appearance. One of the earliest detailed images of Christ's face appears in the Christ Pantocrator, a 6th century icon from St. Catherine's Monastery at Sinai. Rich with symbolism, it offers both a physical likeness of Jesus and a profound theological statement about his divinity. One eye radiates compassion, the other justice. One side of his face is calm and tender, the other grave and commanding. The artist sought to show that Christ's face must reflect the mystery of two natures in one person, human and divine. As the centuries unfolded, the face of Christ grew more human. In the Middle Ages, artists for the first time did not shy away from his suffering. They showed us with emotion his agony and his blood. Then came the Renaissance, a flourishing of form, beauty and intellect. The face of Christ became an image of true encounter, no longer as a record of a man, but a window into the very heart of Jesus. Today, this sacred quest continues to inspire artists. This is Nic Fiddian-Green, sculptor, painter and bronze artist, known for his monumental works, particularly his striking depiction of horses. You may have seen his pieces in public spaces in capitals across the world. Currently, Nic is pursuing a new, deeply personal body of work with an entirely different subject: the face of Christ. He has an exhibition in the centre of London, and I'm meeting him not just to view the work, but to uncover what compels an artist to take on such a sacred subject. Hi, Nic.
Hi.
How are you?
Morning.
Good to see you. You all right?
And you? Very well.
Good, good.
Very well.
The face of Christ. Quite a title. Why?
I guess because it's a question that I have been trying to answer, searching, looking, as to what did he look like. And we've got 2,000 or so years of artists and creatives who have attempted it, from the greatest to the simplest. And I suppose for me in 2025, I was in a conversation, was asked, why don't you, Nic, make a life-size crucifixion? I've studied the work, I've worked on it all my married life, actually, particularly. And this was an opportunity to say, today, here I am, let me see if I can look further, look harder and deeper into answering that question. Yeah, so I mean, this was worked over a couple of years, and I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what was my intention, except for that I was living. And when the people came, they would help me by me asking them, what do they see? And they came to this word, they came to this understanding. They saw something of acceptance in this piece.
And it just looks so beautiful against the grey wall, but also the exhibition, the way it's set up, is as there's a very similar Christ figure here, but then because it's behind the glass of the gallery, it shows this sort of backdrop of everyday life. Yeah. I think this crucifixion is just so powerful to see it like this, to say, well, yes, I did this for you 2,000 years ago, but for you as well now, in this day and age, in 2025.
When he's turned around, people walking past will see and either go, I'm coming in, shall I knock on the door? and enter into something, which is like every shop. Every shop has its calling card, its window. And from the window we move to the door. And perhaps that is what Christ was saying, and that's why it makes such sense to do something, in the heart of our city. But it is totally out of context. Christ is in the midst of the city.
Yes.
He's in the midst of the chaos.
Yeah. Commissioned especially for the exhibition, this beautiful documentary film follows Nic's creative process, revealing how he undertakes the specialist skill of bronze making.
This is the end stages of actually taking the shell off. And what happens then is the bronze is revealed. And this shell will all be removed, it'll all be cut off. These are little, what we call runners and risers. This is where the bronze, when molten, will travel. If this is upside down, the bronze will travel, I can show you. So the bronze is poured in through a cup, in through here, and we'll run down these runners all the way to the far end and into the empty void, I suppose. When it reaches the bottom, like liquid, it's molten, it runs like water. It will start to fill up very gradually. And where any air is trapped, the air will be forced out here as the bronze rises up here. These are called risers. And all the air will then be extinguished at the top here. When it's full, it's left to set, and literally about 10 minutes later, it's solid.
Yeah.
Now this process, there's nothing new about this process. We've been melting bronze using the same principle for a few thousand years now. And if we keep going with the process, this piece will become this piece. And I think there's something which illustrates to me the beauty of this material. And the chasing and the finishing and the colouring and the working, if you can remember, we had all of those runners and risers attached. They're cut. If we have to fill in little holes, you used to plug it with wax in the old days. Bits of lead and different materials to fill it in to make the thing a beautiful work of art. And in a sense, we then bring him to life through it, and he will last for centuries. Bronze, everlasting. Christ, everlasting.
And then what else strikes me about the face are these thorns, the thorns of the crown of thorns. They're almost lethal.
They are.
And can you say anything about why these thorns are so prominent of all these faces of Christ?
Well, this is the most interesting part. So having created it in plaster and in using plaster and clay in the original model on the wall, what then happens is when we move into the bronze processes is they are formed in wax, and they're formed bigger, and they become quite brutal and rather unruly, should we say.
Yeah.
But what happens is the piece is cast, and in the finishing process, we're left with these rather crude extensions around the ring, and each one's got to be worked by me. And it's quite a labor-intensive, doesn't sound a lot, but the whittling of these thorns is as if I'm actually trying to now bring them to life. Is that as I made these thorns, I wanted them to be beautiful. I didn't actually want them to be what they are, which of course is what they are. But here was the point, is as I was turning and working and finishing, not only was I contemplating the reality, but I was also seeing myself crowning Christ. And we talk about the crown. We talk about him as the king, crowned with thorns. It's the paradox of what was going on here, but I took it one stage further. Is I thought, I know what I'll do. Is when the piece is finally finished, I'll buy some 22 karat gold leaf, and I will gold leaf each thorn.
Yeah, beautiful. And do you feel in the last 20, 30 years, you think you found the face of Christ?
I think what there is I found something. I found something of Christ in this piece, particularly this most contemporary, most recent piece. So finding something in this face is enough. And yet, I've got a long way to go. It's almost as if it's just the beginning. Interestingly. I mean, if you said to me, right, Nick, all you're going to do now let's just say you've got another 10 years to go, or 20, God willing, you're going to really indulge and step right into that, eternal question. Where would I go? And of course, the one piece that has escaped my grasp so far is the resurrection. Because I'll only be able to attempt that and find the face of Christ's being alive today, his very presence in that moment when he steps out of the tomb, the turning point of our faith, I should say, or of the Christian faith particularly. I'm closer to him on the cross in his suffering than I am in the revelation of that turning point in the true mystery and the power of what he then, that miracle he then performed, and continues to do that today.
When we look at the face of Christ, just like we've seen in Nic's work, we're ultimately looking at much more than just the features of a man. We're looking at the very image of God made visible. And that is just so beautiful in itself. Yes, a face that has been bruised, that is bloodied, and that is sometimes very difficult and hard to look at, especially with these spiky thorns that are there. But ultimately, it's a face that tells us as well, that is looking straight at us to say, look, I did all this for you, and that is how much I love you. Well, thank you so much, Nic. It's been an absolutely privilege, and thank you for sharing so much about yourself as well, and in your artwork, and about your personal faith journey as well. So, big thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Nic Fiddian-Green, and check out more about his art. And if you like what we do and our videos, please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching, and God bless.
And if you haven't already, head over to christian.art and subscribe for free to receive our daily email, where I pair the gospel reading of the day with a work of art and write a short reflection, exploring beauty to grow closer to God. Be part of our community and subscribe, or simply download the app.